Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Astroneer series. Today we're going to do some more progress with some missions. So get yourself strapped in, get your favourite, spacesuit on. Make sure your helmet seals are all good. Because today we are going to be working on getting the next, what do they call them? Galastropod. Yes, I knew that word was in there somewhere. Now, where we landed last episode, as it turns out, the little facilities that you randomly come across on these planets, some of them have landing zones, and I'm not used to just how common they've become in Astroneer. So I landed the shuttle at one of those said facilities, and that's where I found the gravity globe. And anyway, we found ourselves getting back to base here, and we didn't have a shuttle. The reason we didn't have a shuttle is we didn't have an engine for it over at the other location. So, honestly, it's just easier to leave it there. If I happen to be over that way and I've got a spare engine on me, I'll go and grab it. But honestly, the small shuttles, they're like two aluminium bars to remake them. So, it's really not worth stressing about. Now, we've come down into the cave because we need a few little knickknacks, not the least of which we need some more laterite so we can make some more aluminium. We need more aluminium because when we go to the moon, which is our next destination, we're going to do two things. We're going to be getting our, galastropod on. But we are also going to build a little tractory thing with some power, and we're going to go around and unlock the surface gateways while we're there. I always like to try and do, more than one thing at a time when I go to a new planet. It just, I don't know, makes it a bit more interesting, makes it seem a bit less wasteful because the engines, you only get one return journey with the engines. So we've got our laterite. We're going to get that smelted up now. We're going to make our tractor, and then we're going to get all packed and ready to go. Now, this whole session was around about an hour, and quite a lot of it was me standing around waiting for things. So I did do a fair bit of chopping and speeding up during this episode, and that's how I've managed to get it down to about half an hour. So we are now going for a run up the hill because we want some more resin. I had a plan to make the chemistry lab, but I don't think I've actually unlocked the recipe, or I was looking on the wrong printer or whatever, but I needed resin for another platform, and this looked like there was a buckload of resin up here, but it actually wasn't. It was kind of disappointing. But anyway, I digress. So we're going to gather this up, finish packing, and get on our way to the moon. Alright, sometime shortly after, we have our plan starting to come together. We've made a little medium storage holdery thing. That's a little double-sided 4-slot thing there. We're not taking a oxygenator on the shuttle because there's already one up there. The habitat that we dropped when we first went to the moon, it actually already has an oxygenator on it, so we don't need one for the shuttle at this stage. So we're going to use that double slot where the oxygenator normally sits as some storage, and it will take one of these little medium storage units together with whatever I've got plugged into it. So we're just getting all the odds and sods together, printing up the tractor, printing up trailer. We got to make ourselves a medium generator as well, because the gateways are going to need more power than silver. So on silver, I think we only needed 4 or 5 units of power to activate each of the gateways. On the moon, I believe it's 7 or 8. Now, to get enough, power generation onto, a tractor to cover, 7 or 8 units worth of power is an entirely different animal. And it's, I mean, there's a little bit of organic on the moon, but probably not really enough to do the old plan. So what we're going to do instead is we are going to make one of these medium generators. Now, the medium generators run off carbon. And carbon, you get that just by chucking organic in the smelter and it turns it into carbon. Hooray. Now, the generator, when you feed it a piece of carbon, it actually runs for quite a while. And while it's running, it produces 9 units of power. And that is just exactly what we need. So I've worked out, even though I printed the tractor and 2 trailers, I've sort of done the math by now and I've realized, yeah, actually we don't need 2 trailers. We only need 1 because we just need somewhere for the generator to sit, and everything else we can store it on us and on the front of the tractor. So that is what the plan is now becoming. We're going to make a couple of other odds and sods to take with us, and then we are going to blast off. Yeah, so it's all packed, ready to go, and then I realised, oh, whoops, yep, I better bring some carbon with me, and then that way I don't need to have a smelter up there. So, yeah, here we go. Invincible rocket that can fly through a planet. Yeah, no, the space part of Astroneer is not very realistic. You've only got to look at the directions that the thrusters are firing in relative to your direction of travel. And yeah, it's just transition from one place to another, really. That's all. Anyway, we are here on the moon of Silver, otherwise known as De Solo. And I don't know, you could probably make some kind of Han Solo reference out of that, but I'm not going to. Instead, we go straight onto our summoning montage. And that is our little friend And we go through the usual routine here. They want you to dance a couple of times and they move in between. If you just wave at them, they just, shake their head. Now, of note, sometimes they'll move and it won't be immediately obvious where they are. So you can actually just pull your compass up and it will show you where they are. So there you go. There's a little Pac-Man looking icon there, and that's where the galastropod is currently. And there we go. We have our DeSolo galastropod. Funny word, galastropod, but anyway. We've got that one, so that was our first, mission thing that we're going to get done while we're here. The remaining step is we've obviously got to take it back to Silver and plug it into the science lab down there to do the verification cycle. We'll do that when we return. For the moment, though, we are getting our exploration hat on. And by exploration hat, I mean a airtight helmet, because I dare say there's probably not a lot of atmosphere here, and we might struggle to breathe without some kind of helmet on. Anyway, that's another bit of digression out of the way. We've got our tractor all ready to rock and roll. As you can see, the terrain here, a lot less forgiving than on Silver. Now, the tractor is actually very capable of covering a lot of these surfaces without any real issues at all. It's the lumpy stuff that tends to get in the way more, and the surfaces that are, well, if you're not going to call them vertical, they are very, very close to vertical, is the ones that the tractor won't go up. But most of the angles are not a particularly big issue for the tractor. So we're just barreling across the landscape here as we head to the gateway. Now, there is, because it's a moon, there is only 2 gateways that are available to be activated on the surface. This is the first of the 2 that we're choosing to visit. Once we've done this one and we've got it all activated, we're going to head off and do the second one as well. Oh dear, what do we have here? It is an Apollo landing module. So this is a, yeah, bit of a Easter egg in the game. There's probably other Easter eggs out there. Honestly, this is the only one that I routinely come across. You get to interact with it and take a photo. Yeah, that's pretty much all you get to do with it. Yeah, funky little piece of kit, but obviously left over from a bygone era in the simulation. We've done our little bit of photo session, and we are back on the road, so to speak, to get our second gateway activated. It's worth noting that even for the amount of time that the generator was running to activate these two gates, it's about 30 seconds each, there's still quite a bit of that carbon left. So, yeah, it actually lasts for quite a while. So, we'll hang on to that for any future endeavours we might be doing on DeSolo. But for now, we've done our gate activations for the surface. We're just going to head back to our base on DeSolo and work out what our next move is from there. Now, there is a bit of a point of interest here. I mean, I've noticed it for a while on the horizon because it's had this little, light bulb eye type icon, and that usually means it's something that could become important or it's part of unlocking other missions. It is actually something I've used in a previous run through. But honestly, I'm struggling to remember exactly what I have to put in it. I think it's something to do with the schematics that we will be locating in our journeys through the solar system. I think we have to bring them back to this thing to essentially unlock whatever the recipe is that we get from that schematic. Now, I've done something a bit stupid there. I've unlocked it from the ground thinking that I could actually pick it up, but yeah, I can't. It's something not meant to be moved around, so I should have left it locked to the ground where it was. I'm going to fiddle around with it here in a minute, and I'm just going to kind of dig a hole under it so it can stand back up again. And we'll just leave it here. I have left the beacon nearby so that it becomes a lot easier to navigate back here again. Ultimately, I'll probably come back here at some point and I'll put a landing pad here so that I can come here directly. But I haven't quite got to the point where I can make my own landing pads yet, so that'll be a project for another day. We are having a bit more of an explorer around here. There is a few of these sort of crashed satellite-y looking things. We got a little solar panel out of it. We've got some materials out of it. A bit of scrap metal. I'm actually not that worried about scrap at this stage. There will be a point where I may want to start making scrap myself, but trying to do that on the small buggies is just a royal pain in the backside because the grinder that makes the scrap is just too small to be able to grind most things. You're better off waiting until you get the really big one that's so big it will only fit on the largest buggy. Yeah, when you get that one up and running, that's where you can make some really good scrap. But up until then, I think it's a little bit of a waste of time from my own experiences in terms of trying to make a significant amount of scrap with anything less than that setup. Now, we did get ourselves a little bit stuck here, and I couldn't work out why the jump jet wasn't kind of working better, but that's all good. We'll deal with that another day. We managed to get back to in range of the tractor in the nick of time, so yeah, no suffocation there. And we're just having a bit of a look around because I wanted to see, because we picked up an explosive, I wanted to see if there was another exo cache around here that I could blow up with it, but the one I remembered seeing was quite a long way from here, and yeah, for some reason I was thinking it was a lot closer than it actually was. So, yeah, it's all good. We've got some odds and sods there. We've shrunk down a research item, and we're pretty much done with this site for now. We're going to head back to base and, yeah, see what other adventures we can get up to. Yeah, if you ever get your buggy or tractor or whatever stuck or rolled over, it'll give you the option to just flip it over and then keep going, hopefully. If you're so stuck that that doesn't work, yeah, you're going to end up digging yourself out. Trust me, done my fair share of that in the past as well. So we're back here, back at our base, and we are just going to well, we're going to queue up this research item. Because we don't have a lot of power here, essentially the whole thing is just running off the habitat, and the habitat only provides half a unit of power. And so the, three samples that it's working on, it will take hours and hours and hours. So it's a nice little passive gain of bytes in the background. Now we can see where our other rocket is over there. And as we come around the planet, you can see all the different landing zones highlighted. The ones with just the arrow pointing down, they're just, natural sites where the ground is flat where you can land. So on Silver, there is a bucket load of them. Now, What's interesting here is that little landing site there looks like our own home, but it actually isn't. You can see over here, this is our home, and it shows in brackets home base. So yeah, don't do what I did in the previous episode and just randomly land at the first thing that says landing pad, because with these new structures, well, they're not that new, but they're a lot more prevalent than they used to be. With these landing pad structures randomly being everywhere, if you're not in a hurry to lose your spaceship, I would suggest, make sure you find the one that's designated home base. Better still, have a few little beacons around as well, because that makes it look busier and it's easier to identify at a glance that that is your home. Now, in other news, I left DeSolo without my precious cargo. It was still sitting there on its little medium storage thing, and I took off without it. So I had to run off and get some more ammonia, and that's what that dying montage was all about. I got a little bit turned around in the forest, and I ended up running back in the wrong direction. And yeah. If I had my compass out, I wouldn't have got lost. Blah blah blah. But anyway, it's we're not we're not we're not awesome, Rob. We're not excellent, Rob. We're just rudimentary, Rob. So, the mistakes are going to be there, and that's just, part and parcel of how things roll on this channel. So, we got some ammonia, we made a new thruster, and now we've come back to DeSolo to pick up the stuff that we shouldn't have left behind. So, sure enough, here it is still in the front of the tractor. We're just going to grab it, chuck it on the rocket, check a couple of things, and then head back to base. Except we're not. I've just had the big brain move. We've got this power locked, sample here. We've got a research chamber going. I figure, look, I've got the generator here. We may as well unlock this thing, get the sample out of it, and queue that up, because there was only two, one sample being researched and one sample being queued up. So I thought, yeah, I'll grab this one. These things are really good to research. So we've done that now. We're going to pop that in the queue on the research chamber, and then we're going to head off. All right, and we get our science on with our latest galastropod buddy. He doesn't seem too phased by the whole scanning exercise. Just between you, me, and the goldfish, I don't think that was his first time. Anyway, we have also unlocked a new structure. It's something to do with the galastropod on Glacio. We will get to that eventually. I believe as far as galastropods and materials go, our next destination is probably going to be Calidor. And we will get there maybe in the next episode. I've got possibly one other thing I want to do first, but we'll wait and see. I'll leave you in a bit of suspense for now. All right, until next time, we've reached the end of the episode. I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to consider subscribing if you are not already subscribed. In the meantime, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Make sure you have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.